So we probably don't have like a standard intro. I guess if anything, it's just more of an explanation. But we've been off.
Yeah, we've been out.
We've been off for 2 weeks or so. Well, we recorded some stuff, but my brother came down with COVID. Yeah. It happened while I was in transit.
Yeah.
So I just didn't go home for 2 weeks. I was stuck at my parents' house because at the time we couldn't determine whether or not I had crossed paths with him.
Yeah.
And so, so this is the first time we are hanging out in like 2.5, possibly 3 weeks. 3 weeks.
Closer to 3, because I didn't see you on my birthday. Yeah.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you. Just like 2.5 weeks late now.
Yeah. I should give you a card or something.
Well, just wait. Stay tuned for the end of this episode.
Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is So I'm Watching This Show, your twice weekly pop culture podcast where we talk about movie, TV, music, and more.
This is why we can't take breaks.
I don't want to do another take. Let's just
we totally lose our minds when we have a break and we can't get into it again. We like forget how to do this, even though we've been doing it for 3 years.
Oh, on today's episode, we're going to have a conversation about Wonder Woman 1984 and then maybe open some presents, as we mentioned.
What did you do?
Wonder Woman 1984 was supposed to be released last Christmas. Then it was pushed to June. Mm-hmm. Then it was pushed to July. Then it was pushed to August. Then it was pushed to October. Then it was pushed to December. And about 2 or 3 weeks ago, they just dumped on us like a ton of bricks that it was going to be coming out on HBO Max at no additional cost.
Yeah.
And
I would have paid for it.
Yeah. But this was nice.
It was nice.
It was nice that something, because both it and Soul.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, well, it's going to cost money. And I kept saying, no, it's not. No, it's not. Yeah. Everybody said that. And it's been savaged online. It's been really, really run through.
That's a good enough place to start as any.
Run through the ringer.
So I agree. I have seen all these things too. I think one of the places where this movie suffers the most is the year of blue balls that we've had not getting it. They ran through all their promo material by like March before the pandemic even started, and then it was just
we had Wonder Woman Doritos in June.
Yeah, and then they were just like, ha ha ha.
Cheetah dolls were and at just like Target
box stepping for 6 more months. So it's like, I was fatigued by the footage I had already seen to the point where I was like, I almost don't care anymore. And so maybe for me, it was, I liked it. I had a really good time. I just like had a fun time watching it in my living room, just hanging out on Christmas Day with like nothing else to do. And so I'm seeing all these people who are like, this is just bad. And like the writer should feel bad. And like, hopefully Patty Jenkins can like get out of there. Cause Gal Gadot is like a terrible actress too. And I'm like, I beg your pardon.
People are very split as to whether or not she is a bad actress or the embodiment of Wonder Woman. It's either or. It's either all the way or nothing at all. I did see a take that
there is a middle.
Yeah, it's right here.
Yeah. We are the middle.
I saw a take that while I don't necessarily agree, I understood the take. This is hurting my head.
We are.
It's more like a tiara.
Now you know who you look like is the king. You look like the king from Men in Tights. Because he's got that weird crown. The way it was like sitting on your hair looked so silly.
So I saw a take that I don't personally agree with, but I understood it. And it basically said Gal Gadot is all movie star and no actress. I could see,
totally
I don't agree either, but I could understand where someone would get that. I found this movie to be pleasant. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed it. about every single criticism I've read about it, I noticed watching the movie.
100%. That's the thing I'll say is, I think it was sloppy, and even though it had so much time,
because that's
it feels like it was rushed.
I was literally about to say it felt rushed, and that's the one thing it was not.
Because it also
and that's a little bit weird for me.
It's also so long, and it didn't need to. I could have lost 30 minutes
easily. Something had to give. I know what I would have given. And this is going to sound controversial because it technically is a good thing, but it's a good thing that I don't think really served the movie at all. And that is Steve Trevor.
Ah, okay.
I don't think he was necessary. They have great chemistry.
Yeah.
We got nice things out of it, but I think it did nothing. And as a matter of fact, I was actually a little bit offended that she was in this movie apparently 70 years after he died, so hung up on her boyfriend of a couple weeks.
Sure. Okay. In that sense, it does do for me a little bit of what Steve and Peggy do for me in the first Avenger, because it's like when we get Steve Rogers back, Captain America 70 years later, he still also is like, what about Peggy? And I'm just like, you didn't even have one date. Like, that's the kind of thing where I'm like, sure, they were together for like a couple of weeks or whatever, maybe on like the front of World War I. But I'm totally with you where it's like, you look like you look, and you cannot find another man who even interests you for like one bone or a lady. We know that you are boning ladies on Themyscira, just like there's a whole big, beautiful world out there.
I'm not saying to never bring Steve back out, but I would have put him into a third movie.
Sure.
And I would have given her this movie an unfulfilling personal life. Like, I would have preferred to see her go on possibly even multiple dates.
Bad dates or something. Sure.
And not even bad. Like, they could be fine with, like, because that guy whose body Steve was in, which that's another thing with this movie, real dicey.
Because that's not what I thought was happening.
No.
That's not at all what I thought was happening from the trailers. Like, that was not made clear. And the thing is, okay, as it was happening, I didn't really give it a lot of thought. And I just was like, it's sort of like, what happens to this poor guy when Steve inevitably has to
which also the internet's letting him have it too. And I was like, he was perfectly handsome.
Yeah.
He was charming. He's got his Hallmark Christmas movie money.
Yeah.
Like,
but that's the thing is, so I did see one thing, and the person was really offended, and they were like, what would you do if this was Superman sleeping with Lois Lane in another woman's body? The internet would be in an uproar. And that's the only tweet I've seen about it. And I was like, no, it is pretty shady.
Yeah, because we have no sense of, does this man have a family?
No,
does he have a job?
He does have a job, but he doesn't have a family because he's living in that apartment with a futon. So we know that he doesn't have a family.
Okay. But she is just boning down with him. And I mean, yeah. And that happens on more than one occasion with the movie, where it's like, if you pause for even a second and question what's happening, it could fall to pieces.
Yeah.
Which I understand how so many people can be disappointed by it. I do, however, think there's a difference between disappointed and like the reaction that the movie is getting.
That's the thing. I've seen a lot of things on the internet recently, especially because right now everybody is like home and like not really doing anything. And so I've seen a lot of things where it's like the issue with specifically right now, this time in society and this time during the pandemic and everything, is that people are consuming content so rapidly and they want something of quality to come out every day. They're like desperate for it. They're like, this needs to come out. And if it comes out and it's not good, then I'm actively angry about it. And it's like, all that's going to do is lead to more mediocre shit because the creators don't have time to make anything worthwhile. First of all, the first Wonder Woman was sort of a cultural reset, if we're being honest, with all of the women and like everything at Themyscira and everything. It was so cool. And it was also the best DC movie we'd had so far. And now we've had like 3 more pretty good ones. So it's a little bit trying to reach that same pinnacle as the first one and not being able to get there because it's always tough to do like a follow-up. But also I was just really in the mindset where I was like, I'm getting this cool thing for free with people I already know I like. And I'm just happy about it.
That's the thing for me, is this plays like a perfectly fine episode of a Wonder Woman show.
Sure.
like when you like say like Wonder Woman, like CBS's Supergirl or the CW's Supergirl
Yeah.
at this point, but say like there was a sweeps episode in the middle that was kind of weird, but also it did some cool shit. You're like, you know what, that was fine. Where as a Wonder Woman movie, I was like, this is fine, and I actually really enjoyed aspects of it. Like I loved aspects of it. As the highly anticipated follow up to 2017's Wonder Woman, it was not
great.
And I don't know if this year helped or hurt it. And I guess that's what you were just getting at, is you're kind of saying it hurt it.
I think it kind of hurt it because we also were in a weird bubble where it's like the whole year we've sort of been like, oh my God, like no, everything got pushed and everything got delayed, but we actually still had so much content. Next year is going to be the year that's weird because things have not been in production all year. So I feel like we're at a tipping point where we're going to be going, weeks and weeks between stuff. And it's going to be a lot more middle of the road, mediocre, gently used content that we like. I think people are expecting too much from a lot of stuff. And I do think that having this be basically finished before COVID and quarantine happened hurts it a little bit, because it's like you had all those resources at the time and it doesn't feel like you took advantage in the way you should have.
Well, and furthermore, there's been this long conversation about the future of the industry, and especially theaters, because I don't know how so many of them are going to survive something like this. And there's been a lot of it reminds me so much of, this is a weird card that I'm going to throw down, but it reminds me so much of 9/11.
Oh no.
When the immediate like days following 9/11, people were like, this is the end of fun. This is the end of like we can never laugh again. And the exact opposite happened. Yeah. It was like, if anything, we got
this is when you need to laugh.
And it's like largely the superhero movie was reborn out of that with Spider-Man in 2002 and stuff. And so I feel the same way, where we've been talking about the death of the theater. And if anything, this sort of proved to me that I think we do need the theater. And I think having this being so accessible was a disaster, because you didn't have to want it. You didn't have to get dressed, go to a place, wait. See, I mean, when you go to see a big premiere movie, you're usually in a room full of like-minded dweebs like yourself.
That's the thing, is
there's usually an energy.
Yeah, I think I would have more easily glossed over more of the flaws of this movie if I had been watching it in a group full of other people who love Wonder Woman.
And you can't pause it and look up why you know that actor and go to the bathroom twice.
Yeah,
and
exactly. You have to go to the bathroom twice. It's 2.5 hours long.
It was too long.
It's so long.
Too long. It was so way too long.
Because so when you said you could have got rid of Steve Trevor, I do agree with you, because spoiler alert for season 2 of The Punisher, it felt a lot like bringing Billy back too early. You're like blowing your best wad too early.
Well, and again, I want to hit this part again, but I actually was offended that they were painting her as like this pining,
lonely woman who doesn't have any of this like inner female strength to move on with her life.
And it's not as if I'm suggesting that she can't have like a longing or a melancholy or something there, but it felt really schoolgirl-like in a way that, especially at this far in this character's journey, was offensive. And
it also feels like we've done this 3 times now, because it's in, I don't remember if it was Batman versus Superman or if it was Justice League, but it's like everyone just keeps like shoving Steve in her face, and it's like, remember him? And it's just like, well, she might forget if you stop fucking bringing it up.
Well, and that's another thing, and I'm really annoyed by it, is it appears that the DCEU only exists when they need it to.
It's very, very frustrating.
So it like sometimes it's an extended universe.
Yeah.
Unless it gets in the way, and then it's not. Because she does shit in this movie that there is no precedent for. Nor does she do it in BVS or Justice League.
The flying.
So I have no real issue with it.
No, I think it's cool. But
and
but
it
you're
was so
right.
beautiful. It was so beautiful. Although this is a perfect.
That was one of the times I cried.
But this is a perfect metaphor for the movie in general, is because for some reason in that scene, they use that song. It's like, I can't think of it's something with an A. I've never heard it pronounced. It's like a gato or something. But it's a piece of music that it's beautiful. It's wonderful. It's one of my favorite pieces of music in existence, but it's been used. And
like a lot.
Yeah, it's in Sunshine. It's in that fucking mermaid documentary that they played on Animal Planet. And it's like, once you've been in a cryptozoology, like
Adagio in D minor?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
It just kind of thought, you have Hans Zimmer, the Wonder Woman theme, the entire catalog of the 1980s, and you're gonna pull this out? And again, it works, but it's like,
can't even pull that bass line from Tainted Love or something. Like,
I just thought, what a weird place to phone it in.
Sure, I get it.
And that to me kind of it encapsulated the experience in general, where it was like, it works, but why? Why did you, considering that the theme of this movie is you can't cheat, why did you cheat?
Why did you cheat there?
Another huge thing that I deeply feel and believe that would have made all the difference in the world is that Cheetah should not have been in this movie.
It should have just been Barbara. Mm-hmm.
Not Barbara. Cheetah shouldn't have been in this movie.
Super fair.
Barbara and her needed to have a borderline sapphic connection.
Okay. I'm so glad you said that, because I totally agree with that. And also, I was going to say something similar, because when you said earlier that you would have preferred if there was no Steve Trevor in this movie, I thought you were going to say Barbara, because I just think there's like one element too many for sure. But when you said Steve, I was like, oh yeah, no, Steve would be way better to pull out. But then, yes, she needed to be like, Barbara needed to be the human connection. Like,
and Barbara needed to be a hero in this movie.
Yeah, like she's missing Steve, and she needs to be able to like bring someone else in that's going to fill a similar void in her life. And Barbara seems like such a good thing to do that. And Kristen Wiig,
I kind of adored her.
Loved it.
Yeah, and I it gives me hope. I mean, I am.
Well, she's still around.
I'm rapidly aging. And I don't always feel great about it. And to see Kristen Wiig be 47 years old and the hottest she's ever been.
So hot.
I've seen a lot of criticism, and fair, that she's all that her.
Oh, like she just gets hotter?
She just takes away her glasses and suddenly she's hot. It's like it changes the waistline of her.
Well, it's like a shirt and she brings it down to a dress. But yeah, I mean, who cares?
Because I was honestly, even with her, she was doing Kristen Wiig a little bit, especially in the beginning. I was electrified by the first two acts of Cheetah's story.
Yeah. And their chemistry was excellent.
And in the scene where Cheetah is like where Barbara is testing out her powers, and she like is beating up the guy that got too handsy with her in the park.
As she should.
No, exactly. And I was like, where's this movie? And then I went into like a fantasy rage spiral where I was trying to imagine the Joker style version of Barbara's story, and how, of course, no one would go unnecessary sexist place. We don't need
Sure.
I was just imagining all the dudes that love Joker so much.
Oh, yeah.
And how they would feel if it was,
no, this is so unrealistic.
if it was a Barbara Minerva anti-hero story, but
let's write it and see.
To me, it was kind of like when we were watching Prom, where warts and all, I was like, you know what? This is fine, whatever.
This is better than Prom.
It is better. But I paused it and I was like, oh, dear God, we still have an hour and a half left.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I had no real issues with it, but I do think it was strange for them to involve Middle Eastern politics in a movie with,
especially 1980s Middle Eastern politics. That's a dicey place to go now.
You know, with a Israeli
with an Israeli actress,
who has been very vocal of her her involvement in the military and all that. Like it felt like it was inviting conversations that I don't think anyone wanted to have.
Didn't need to get there.
Also, the internal logic of this movie, I don't think stands up to a lick of scrutiny.
What are you referring to?
The stone.
Oh.
I think it gets to a point where, again, I could follow emotionally what was happening, but I was like, it almost was like it was just contradiction after like, why on earth would he know to make himself the stone?
To like absorb it. Okay, so that is one point. Will made the funniest joke and that he's like almost ever made, and he just was like, doesn't he know not to wish to be a genie?
Yeah.
And I was like, you would think, but I was like, ooh, Aladdin wasn't out yet in 1984, so no.
Sure. And actually, to go back to a point, I thought the score in this was beautiful, especially there was a piece at the end that I want to say that like a choir was involved. It was stunning. I meant to look it up and I didn't. It turns out that we're just lazy because we had instant free access to this movie.
We did, and
we're still phoning this in.
We both only watched it once. Look, it's Christmas. I'm tired. This year has been a dumpster fire. We're talking about Wonder Woman. It's fine. I did like one part in the score a real lot. And I think it was when it was at some point with Barbara. I don't know if it was when she was beating up the guy or if it was a point later, but it turns into this sort of like really brassy, bastardized version of the Wonder Woman thing. That was friggin' incredible. That was so good. And like I sat up and was like, oh, neat.
I liked all of that stuff. But my issue was I was thinking there was going to be more 80s music woven because the trailer had this brilliant how does it feel?
I don't know who that
to
is.
treat me like you and but the like cheesy disco percussion was like actual cinema orchestrated percussion and stuff.
Okay.
You know what you need to do.
Nothing good is born from lies.
And so, or like the end of Thor Ragnarok, they were supposed to do Immigrant Song, and they were gonna have the orchestra record it, and Zeppelin.
I don't know. Maybe. I'm not up to snuff on my 70s rock.
I'm just happy I knew the Immigrant Song. Karen O, I don't know.
Sounds like Zeppelin. Yeah, Zeppelin.
Yeah. Zeppelin was like, no, you're either going to use the song as is or you can't have it.
Oh.
And they were like, ultimately, that was the right decision. And I was like, ultimately, that was a fair decision. It was not the right decision. I want to hear
an orchestra,
the orchestra play that song. But no, I wanted like, say, a good 5 or 6 80s songs to be woven into the score.
Oh, I see. Okay. I'm not sure that's how Hans Zimmer works.
Well, he used arigato.
Do you know who would do that is, Ludwig? He would do that.
Sure. Well, also because the other part of the score was Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross.
That was Soul.
No.
Yes.
Was it? Damn it.
I was like, you are lying. There's no way 2 movies came out the same day and they scored them both.
That was Soul. Because, well, John Baptiste also worked on Soul.
Yeah.
So that movie had 2 composers.
Correct.
3 composers.
We're going to talk about Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to talk about Pedro Pascal.
Well, I mean, he was fine.
I think that he made The Mandalorian and was like, you can't see my face in this show. My next thing, I'm going to go fucking bananas.
All of it.
All of my face so much constantly.
I thought the performance was great.
He went for it so hard, and I was like, more.
The character was absurd.
I didn't need his child either.
No, I was like, that was so... Because that's another thing where, again, the movie did get just outright sloppy because they were full on season 7 of Game of Thrones traveling.
Yes.
Like he got from Cairo to Washington, D.C. And I mean, sure, he was magic, but...
Yes, but I feel like the wishes had to be grounded in some kind of reality. So even if he was like, I wish to be in Washington, D.C. right now, I feel like you have to...
Well, and it's like, did you only get one wish or not? Like, it was inconsistent.
So each person gets only one wish, but when the people were wishing on him, when he was the stone, he was then taking payment from them in the form of something he needed or wanted.
Okay.
But they did not explain how that was possible.
Because they did something, I was watching this with my mom and my brother, and they did something where when he's talking to his son, and the kid was like, how did he phrase it? The kid said something about like,
it was like he wished for his success.
I wish for your success. And my mom went, oh no. And I went, what? And she goes, the kid's going to get all the power. And that no, that's not what happened.
Yeah.
But that would have been better. That would because the movie was hinging upon the tricksiness of wishes. And if you don't word something where the child says, I wish for your success, that could mean possessive.
Sure. I wish to have your success.
Yeah. Normally I shut my brain off with this kind of stuff.
It's harder to do that when you're not in a theater.
But also, I don't think the movie was following its own internal logic.
I agree.
And again, I did actually really enjoy it. And one of the things I loved about it is one of the things that so many people, I'll go ahead and go to the gendered place, specifically men, are complaining the most about, is the heart and the emotional core and what I'll call cheesiness. That it was cheesy.
Where were you in 2017? It was all heart and emotion.
Yeah, it was more earnest. I do think this one was cheesy, but
cheesy is fine, yeah.
But that's something I liked about it. Yeah, I thought that the opening sequence of her like a ghost running through Washington, D.C., where you can't get a glimpse of her rescuing people, and they're like, what happened? I thought that was kind of funny. The mall scene I thought was funny. I thought...
Well, it felt like an episode of the show.
Yeah, I thought entire chunks...
Hondo P.
Yeah, I thought entire chunks of this movie felt like a movie that would have been released in 1984.
Yeah.
And it felt like there was a lot of homages to the Christopher Reeve Superman.
Mm-hmm. Also, yes.
In good ways. Yeah. But it's actually something Glenn Weldon's talked about, because it's like Wonder Woman herself is a strange character. Because I think the way he described it is she's a warrior for peace. Mm. And so it's really tricky to like strike the balance.
Well, it's in that way, it's sort of like Daredevil, where it's like he won't kill people, but he's just like leaving traumatic brain injuries across the city.
Yeah,
it's like you're doing damage. You're trying to be good, but you still are doing damage.
Another criticism is that this movie was light on action, which again, kind of fair. I actually quite enjoyed the action in the first movie. Mm-hmm. And, and I loved the opening, the Wonder Woman games, whatever there was.
The Mascara Olympics.
Yeah, because a lot of people said something about how it didn't relate at all.
Pardon, it's the whole thesis of the movie.
That's that's kind of what I was like.
What do you think it means that she has to give Steve up? Mm-hmm. That's cheating to keep him. Mm-hmm. Just like she cheated at the beginning. She wasn't ready to be her full self as a little girl because she was still willing to cheat. She has to come to grips with letting him go in order to upgrade her powers. That's why she can fly. That's why like these things are better. They even managed to make her look horrible as her powers were like draining out of her. Mm-hmm. She had like under eye circles and she looked really like baggy. And I just was like, well done.
I actually loved the line when Barbara like her middle arc, where she was like, it was something about like who knew wishing to be like you would come with such benefits. Oh yeah, because she was just wishing to be like confident. Yeah. And then like, superpowers were like bam.
Yeah, I liked both their fight scenes.
I think the one at the end was a little bit much.
Well, it was. I don't think they finished rendering it.
There was a lot of talk about
I'm sorry, they were like scissoring in the air at one point.
Oh yeah, scissor. Yeah, scissor me, Allison. Oh, this is hot scissoring. Oh, scissor me timbers.
It was a lot.
There was a lot of talk, especially from Patty, about how they were filming next door to Cats. And she was like, I'm so glad that Cats got to go first so we could learn from its mistakes.
I see.
And I mean, I think on a sheerly technical scale, yes, they did learn from Cats' mistakes. I mean, in the same way that like a 69 is higher than a 65. I think she looked better.
I didn't feel uncomfortable when she came out on screen like I did with Idris Elba.
Sure. I liked the design of Cheetah. I thought it was ambitious, but it felt rushed. It felt rushed in a way that there was no excuse.
Again, you're right, because after they delayed it from last Christmas to June, I'm just like, that's 6 more months to finish your shit. You know, you got a lot of time. And then everybody was hunkered down at home and you're telling me you can't make a digital artist hunker down at home and fix this shit.
Yeah, and
A team, a DC Warner Brothers team of digital artists.
How much money are they pouring into this vanity project of the Snyder Cut? But you're going to call that the budget for Wonder Woman isn't there?
You know what? I can't wait to talk about the Snyder Cut of Justice League. We are going to lose every single last subscriber. It's going to be amazing. I am going to talk about it.
I'm prepared to full like it, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm taking it.
I will allow myself to like it.
I'm taking it as a challenge.
No, I'm not taking it as a challenge. I will allow myself to watch it or to like it if I think that it is worth something. But Vanity Project is exactly where I go when I think about that movie. I'm just like, first of all, it's 4 hours long. And second of all, like, I don't know. Like, I kind of liked Justice League. I don't know what to say.
And it's just like we're having to have the conversation as to whether or not women can direct, superhero movies because.
But let Zack Snyder do it twice and have 6 hours of shit. And I'm just like, fine. I like Zack Snyder. Do it if you want to. But you're right. Just pouring gallons and tons of money into this. And I'm just like, I don't get it.
So I don't remember if I exactly made the point I was trying to make about the Wonder Woman being a warrior for peace or whatever. But
she's just hard to like pin down, kind of.
Well, yeah, because it's like she's frequently the most electrifying when she is absolutely kicking ass and taking names. And she didn't have her sword or shield in this one. I think they overused the lasso. I don't know what so much of that was.
Okay,
apparently if you just go like this, it hurtles you through space like some kind of cosmic skip it.
I have an apology to make to our friend Martin. Because he was really annoyed at the lasso in the 2017 version. And I was like, whatever, it's magic. Just let it happen. They let it happen too much in this one. For sure. I agree. I still think it's fine in the 2017 and in the first one, but this was
I like her using it as like a Tarzan, like...
Yeah, but she was like riding lightning with it at one point.
Well, okay, that's the only part that I was fine with.
It's very cool.
I was fine with that. I was not fine with her grabbing a bullet out of the air.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, yeah.
I talked about the cheesiness. I kind of loved the cheesiness. Well, even the end, you reach a point in this movie where Pedro Pascal, what's his name? Maximilian? I don't know.
Maxwell Lloyd.
There you go.
Lord.
Where he's like on some bunker talking to the TV, talking to everybody in the world because you have to be touching the stone in order for it to work.
And it's like the particles are touching.
Technically, these are radio waves and
it tries real hard.
And then she's like trying to negotiate with him, and it's
in her boss gold armor.
It's halfway there. I don't know. Because it did partially work for me. I did partially think we need to believe, like clap for Tinkerbell. Sure. I kind of got to that. I do believe in Fairy's place.
But you know what it sort of felt like to me is it sort of felt like, all those montages in Michael Bay movies where it's just like, you check in on like one group of people at like all these different like famous, but like people who just like live at the pyramids for some reason during World War II. It's not real. And I'm just like, it was so bizarre because we just did go around to a bunch of different people in the world. And like the Asian lady was like, I want to be famous. And then just people started taking photographs of her from outside. And she was like, oh no.
It's like the Britney Spears episode of South Park.
Yeah. I'm just like, I guess. But
well, because they also said something about how
and the Irish guy was like, well, I wish you'd drop dead. And then
that was kind of funny.
He was like, oh no. And I'm like, well, I just don't know.
Well, they said something at one point about how the manner in which the wishes were granted had to be tangible. And yet a entire wall appeared out of the desert, and
because also what happened first is the lady that he told to drop dead was like, I wish all you Irish would go back to your country or whatever. And I was like, first of all, whoa. Second of all, but then he didn't disappear.
Well, they were rounding them up.
Oh, were they?
Yeah.
Okay, that must have been.
Cops were like just out of nowhere
rounding up the Irish.
Because I'm trying to imagine where those cops teleported to where Irish were, or had the cogs already been put into motion. And so, I mean, again, I get much of the criticisms of this movie.
Me too. I still had a pretty good time.
And again, I hate that I so frequently go back to this well, but I think a lot of it is women. I think that if this were just a man movie,
Sure.
it would be fine in its mediocrity.
Yeah.
I think it would be just another stone.
But the problem is that it's like the weight
it's like
of,
people are happy that it's bad.
well, sure, and the weight of all other female directors rests on the Patty Jenkins' shoulders, and it's just like,
Because I'm at a place
whatever.
now.
She got the third one, so
Did she?
yeah, they announced it today.
Okay.
She and the Gal are back. They're doing it. They're also apparently fast tracking it.
Well, we know time isn't there.
Maybe it had,
I mean, Cheetah is still out there.
yeah, I was going to say maybe it had too long. Maybe they kept on dicking around with it in all the extra time. And that's why it feels like it was rushed and lazy at the same time. Maybe if they have to rush through it, it'll be better.
I don't know.
They won't second guess.
I think, like I said, I think it was a perfectly fine Wonder Woman movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a kind of lousy follow-up to the first movie.
Agreed. And I hadn't considered it until you said it, but I do agree with you about Steve Trevor. I think they should have kept him in the wings for like a third one. Again, though, I agree. It's like their chemistry is like fire.
No, it's wonderful.
But,
and there's a more is better attitude to so many sequels, especially big blockbuster sequels and stuff. And I don't always think that's the case. And especially like one of the things that we praised about, now granted, I wanted them throwing money at this movie, but one of the things we praised about the first one was how sensible its entire production was.
It felt very tangible and very like, even though it was World War I, it felt like on a very low, small scale.
But yet it didn't feel
cheap.
No, and I did hear that, I guess, that big fight at the end of the first one with Ares was studio interference, that the studio was like, we need a big
Because
battle.
Patty wanted something small, right? She wanted like a small emotional moment.
And so there's a part of me after seeing this one where I'm like, okay, but maybe meet in the middle. Like, maybe don't do just what the studio says, but don't give her free, complete reign.
That's the other thing, though, is like, do you think there was more studio interference in this one or less?
Less.
You think there was less, for sure? No. Because that's the thing for me where I'm like, okay, so when does she get her 4-part remake of the first one where she can do whatever she wants, you know, for $100 million extra dollars or whatever?
I do want to watch it again. I plan on it.
Yeah, I probably will too.
You know what it is for me is it's great having on movie fodder. Like, this is a great thing that you would just kind of put on while
it'll
you're
take up
doing
half your
other
party.
Really?
I'm sorry.
You're back on the ass stuff again now.
That's my biggest complaint about this movie is like I see and recognize all of the flaws. They didn't bother me.
Long run times are warranted sometimes. Endgame, we didn't want Endgame to stop.
No, I could still be watching that movie and feel happy about it.
But it also, I mean, it built to that.
Yeah.
But not everything needs to be. And because it's one of Cara Brown's biggest pet peeves. And she was, I forgot how she phrased it, but it was like, end a movie under 2 hours challenge.
Yeah.
Like, because she's like, has any movie after 2001 been less than 2 hours?
That's the thing is like, this could have been a 2-hour movie and I think it would have been fine. And I think it would have excised if you lose Steve, there's 20 minutes easy. Because then he also weirdly is like not in the whole like last hour almost. He's
he also
there.
It was touching. Like, it was very emotional when she said goodbye to him, but she just sort of ran away. And so there was a part of me where I was sort of like, where did he go? I mean,
well, his like spirit or whatever went away,
I guess
and then
just became that guy again.
Poor man just woke up in that middle of that alley.
There's the scene at the end where it's Christmas time, and this is gilding Lily in every shape of the word, but she was especially gorgeous in this movie.
Yeah.
I think the 80s-ness allowed them to give her bigger hair, and the white dress.
Oh my God.
With the slit to about her rib cage.
Yeah.
And
it really was.
It was taped on her body in such a way I could tell when she was. Oh, they also filmed in DC. You can tell we're from DC, so it was just really nice.
It was really nice, especially because like one of the shows
DC has a very particular look.
It does. And one of the shows that I watch a rewatch on a fairly regular basis is Bones, and whenever they're like at a DC place, it is a green screen and you can tell. And I know that that's just like a Fox TV show, but it like bums me out every time.
Well, so many places, so many movies that take place in DC, you'll see like B-roll of like helicopter footage of DC and then just like skyscrapers. And it's like, well, that's
not DC.
DC famously doesn't have skyscrapers.
It's a very short city.
It's very purposeful.
Yeah. I think the tallest building is like 20 stories, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's like 18 or something, but that was wonderful. I loved the nod to, I forget her name, Lucy Davis?
Etta.
Yeah. Devastated it wasn't a scene.
Yeah.
I would have loved.
We could have traded those 20 minutes of Steve for like little bit of a montage.
I would have. I mean, I don't want to rip off Captain America, but like I wouldn't have minded a funeral or like going to the hospital or meeting her for lunch or something.
Sure. Also, I just like evidently
because that scene alone could do all of the Steve work. If Etta's like, you need to learn how to move on.
100%.
Like,
oh my God, I just got chills. Amazing. Amazing. Apparently also Etta is like her best friend in the comics. And I'm just like, we didn't get any of that. Like Lucy Davis is, I mean, I know she's sort of busy. She's on Sabrina, but she's like not that busy.
No, Sabrina's done. Oh, well, I was saying the scene at the end where she sees the guy.
Handsome man.
And I wanted her to ask him on a date.
Thank you, for fuck's sake. I was like, ask him for a coffee.
To do it.
Ask him for a coffee. Holy shit. And she just was like, I like your outfit. And I was like, that's not... You're not doing it. And then he just walked away. And I was like, you're not going to ask her for a coffee either? Drives me crazy. So she's still not moving on with her life. If you're going to do anybody, you already fucked him. Just do it again. It's unbelievable.
He should have been like grabbing at his crotch and been like, I don't know, I have a bruised dick from this weird like.
I would love to go for a coffee with you, but my penis is non-functional.
Shattered.
I don't know what happened. I just thought I should be upfront about it.
But yeah, and so then there was the mid-credit scene, which for some reason they didn't show to critics.
Oh.
The mid-credit scene. So
someone would have spoiled it.
Sure. But people were speculating as to what it could be.
Oh.
And I was like, oof. It was nothing. Like,
it was like,
it was a beautiful nod.
Yeah.
Like, it was a wonderful, like, hey, Linda Carter is Asteria.
Yeah.
She was the Amazon.
She was the golden armor. Yeah. I thought it was.
I keep thinking we're done, and yet
I thought it was good. I really liked it as a mid-credit scene.
Oh no, I love the scene, but
then there wasn't an end credit scene that like set up the next movie or whatever, which goes back to your point about like the DCEU only exists when it serves them.
I just that scene I thought was weird, where like her version of fighting men was like hiding in like while they were all just like beating her up.
Well, I think she was just drawing their focus so they could get to
which weirdly they cut to a woman's face in that scene, and I thought it was Kristen Wiig.
Oh.
It was not Linda Carter.
No, it was a young woman, but she had like turquoise eyes.
I thought it was Kristen Wiig because I thought it was her nose, which I thought would have been an interesting.
To my knowledge, she was not even credited. I tried to look her up online. Okay. I didn't see it.
Only we could watch it again. So we'll see. I think that's it. So, yeah, that was Wonder Woman 1984.
It was sort of like Frozen 2. It was sort of bad, and we liked it.
Frozen 2?
Yeah. It was sort of bad. I had a good time. What are you going to do?
what a good Wonder Woman review. Good conversation about Wonder Woman. So, okay, well, we wanted to do something fun for the holidays, and as we previously mentioned, we planned on having this out sooner, but we were unable to film. So, we are going to open up our Christmas presents on camera. And so, we do have a special guest person. We have husband editor Will.
Just loom behind me.
I'll start with him.
Is it this one?
Yeah. So
I don't know how best to. I'm sure I'm off camera.
Just kneel.
That'll be very well.
Oh boy.
Who has a blade?
It's not like...
Is that why you got your blade?
This is actually the one I'm the most excited for.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Out of all of them?
Out of all of your presents.
Well, I got you stuff that has not come yet.
Oh, okay.
I don't even think it's shipped yet. I even have one more present for you.
Oh,
in that.
I didn't know that.
But
Hey, support the post office. Go buy stamps.
I think it is like a stock issue.
Regardless, go buy stamps.
This is going so. I have to speed this up with some.
It's like you've never opened a gift before.
You literally handed mine to me, so.
It's true. I did. I didn't wrap them at all. We opened Christmas and my birthday the day before my birthday. What is it? Is it a Super Yaki shirt?
Yeah, but it's the quote. It's the fucking speech from The Lighthouse.
Oh my god. Yeah, okay.
It's his monologue
Nice.
from the lighthouse.
Nice.
That's awesome.
I've had that since August.
Oh my god. I don't see it. I don't see anything about Jism on there.
No.
So that's not
No,
that one.
this
This is
isn't-
the Willem Dafoe speech.
This is Defoe's speech, not fucking.
Not Pattinson's.
That's very fun.
I love it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Your stuff that I got you is coming. I contributed only financially to this stuff.
Yeah.
All right, I'll get out of the way, but I do want to stay and watch if you don't mind.
Okay, sure.
So-
Who do you want? Who wants to go first? Do you want to exchange one at a time? You want to give me the dumbest ones first or something?
Well, I'm going to give you this one first because I've technically already told you what it is.
Okay. This way was better.
That's how I managed to do it. But mine came up easier than that.
I was going to say, I made a point to not, like...
I love the mermaid paper.
Do you?
I did not do any kind of good wrapping this year. My wrapping is real lazy.
Every year
had
I-
all these bags.
Every year I pride myself on finding the most secular, like, Christmas wrapping ever.
It is okay. It's okay to like bad movies. It's so okay. I love all the little things that are supposed to be bad, like a monster and a peach and a knife and shit. A car chase.
There was one I was thinking about getting you, and it was Movies by Yourself Club.
Oh god, amazing!
But I like the It's Okay to Like Bad Movies.
It is. It totally is okay. I love it.
That might come into play in our previous conversation about Wonder Woman.
We'll see.
Well, we know because we've already had it.
Well. All right. Well, this isn't really like a gift. We bought these sort of together,
Oh.
but we can look at them.
I think that might be booze.
Only one of them is booze.
Oh, yeah. So we got these art prints of fave of the show, Alice Cooper herself, Metchin Amick, and
Her tattoo says Queen of Everything.
sexy little
It's amazing.
boudoir photos that we're gonna frame and display.
They feel amazing too.
Oh, how many did you get?
Just two.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
They were BOGO. Yeah. The photographer did like a sale.
Queen of everything. Isn't it like a Sarah Bareilles song?
Yes. I think so. Something like that.
Awesome. Okay. This is riveting. I'm actually really proud of this one.
Are you?
Yeah.
It's just a little octopus.
And he flips inside out because he's happy on one side and he's angry on the other.
Oh my god.
So I figured it could be your little mood octopus. And when you're... we can know if you had a good day or a bad day based on his little...
Sure. Yeah, okay. I've had a really good lazy day. So
Put him on top of Spike.
on top of Spike. There you go. Perfect. I love it. I have actually wanted a stuffed octopus for like 15 years.
Oh, really?
Well, almost every cartoon character child has a stuffed octopus because Stewie has one and Louise has one. I just think they're cool and I love it. Also, when we get into our year-end lists, I have an octopus thing to talk to you about.
Okay.
Okay. This one is the least exciting.
The least exciting.
But it's like a staple.
I know what I'm drinking.
I figured.
I do like Belvedere. People always try to get me Grey Goose, and I don't like Grey Goose. I like
There
Belvedere.
you go. For future fan gifts, we'll want Belvedere.
I need one of those Amazon.
A wish list.
I don't know why I think that's my camera.
Well, it's our camera.
This is the one that you think might be a pop toy.
I think it might be a pop toy. It's got the right shape. Oh my god. When did they even make this?
This summer.
Sansa Stark,
Queen Sansa.
Queen in the North. It's so good. It's got the little like leaves on it and everything.
Her queen dress was so good.
So good.
The true queen.
Just weirdly a Theon Greyjoy with a bow and arrow. Okay, this is the next most exciting one.
The next most exciting.
I'm giving them to you in order of excitement.
Okay.
You can. Since I only have one left, you can do two in a row.
Okay.
Or do you want to do two in a row last?
I don't know.
I wrapped them up.
I wanted this so bad the other day.
So it's three different ones. Okay.
I am obsessed with these things. Oh my god.
I got you the mushroom one that you like so much, but then I got you different ones.
They're these like freeze-dried Italian pasta things, and you basically put them in the pot with like
Water.
a liter of water and like 4 tablespoons of oil, and it's so fucking good. You can throw like, it has like suggestions where you can throw like anchovies and nuts and shit. Oh god, it's so good. I actually put cream in this one, the linguine with the porcini, and then black spaghetti with capers and paprika. And ooh, what is this?
It sounded like you would like it.
Cool.
And I didn't know if you had had it before, so
No,
I thought I'd make
I
you a
like
new one.
wanted them so bad the other day.
Well, now you've got 3.
This is the best one.
Oh, well, shit.
Pasta. You buried the lead.
I spent a lot more money on this one.
Well then, yeah. Do you want to give me that one? Okay.
I'm actually pretty excited about this one. I think one of them has a color. Or did I wrap them individually?
They're individual.
Okay,
One's
then I
red
don't.
and one's green.
Then I don't remember.
Oh my god. Okay, so I've wanted a Rainbow Connection shirt for so long.
Great. Felt real risky. This one felt risky to me, so I'm glad that you
No,
like
I've
it.
wanted a Rainbow Connection, and actually, that's the line. Oh my god.
I like the other one better. I just think it's funny. I hope you think it's funny. I think that's really funny.
Future famous dead artist.
I saw it and I was like, I have to get it. It's too funny.
It's good. It's very good. Oh god. Okay. This one's kind of arbitrary.
Are both of our last gifts books?
Yeah, well, yes, but no.
Okay.
It's nothing to read. It's more of a prop.
Okay. I mean, so is mine kind of.
I bought it with Rachel. She was with me when we got it.
Oh my god. Why is this all of a sudden plastic?
So it's technically a journal, but it's a
That's
replica.
a little disappointing.
Yeah, I know.
No, I do love it though. The
But it's a
is
replica
so
of the Sleeping
good.
Beauty book from the movie.
Oh, the front is so good. I love it. I'm never going to write in it. Just because I don't do that. But I do love it.
That's why I was like,
very
it's more of a prop. I feel like I just like to be able to,
I'll find a spot.
yeah, to be able to hold. Because they also have one of like Cinderella, and like they made ones that any of the movies that open with a
Enchanted? Enchanted? Oh, that's cool. Okay. Okay, here is one thing I'm going to say about this is I am like 98% sure you never bought this for yourself.
Okay.
And now I'm really, really nervous that you did.
Okay.
But I bought it for you. So just pretend you don't have it if you do have it.
Oh, it's heavy. My God. So it's a book. Now I'm nervous. Oh, you did the thing.
I just had like a certain amount of paper and...
It doesn't look like.
Okay, you gotta flip it over.
I love it! I did not. I don't have this. No. Okay. It's the Alexander McQueen.
Yeah.
This thing's like honking.
Well, that was the exhibit that we saw on that trip to New York, and you really, really wanted it, and none of us could afford it like 9 years ago. And, well, it doesn't cost as much relatively to my income as it did in 2011.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Awesome. Ooh. It's the hair.
Yeah. It's very cool.
He like sewed locks of hair into.
It's kind of weird.
I wish we did more locks of hair shit. Like we used to back in the day.
Back in the Victorian times.
No, this is awesome.
Yay! Merry Christmas! 3 days late.
Awesome.
Area. Yeah, it's like a thingy.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So that was our Christmas spectacular. Our Wonder Woman
It was fine.
/ Christmas present. So yeah.
All right. Oh, I have to like sign off now. Okay. Sorry, I'm confused. I'm out of step. Okay, so yeah, you can follow us on Twitter @SoI'mWatching or Instagram @SoI'mWatching the show. We also have a website, soimwatching.com, which links out to everything. And other than that, just please rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes or YouTube or wherever you listen. And that's it for us. Bye.